Handling frequencies open, and welcome to Star Trek Discoverage, the live podcast that boldly goes into excruciating detail about this week's episode of Star Trek Discovery. I'm your host, Aaron Coker, a.k.a. Caliban, and it's cool that Bookship can kite surf, but he's got to wait to get lofted through the wind window, or he'll end up teabagging and going totally into a dookie dive like a kook. Shaka bra. Joining him on the show as usual is Mike. Joining me as usual is my co-host. She's also the co-host of the Generations Geek podcast, a more or less family-friendly celebration of geekdom. It's Ella Pearson. Ella, welcome back to Discoverage. Are you there, Ella? All right, hold on. I can't hear you, but I'm going to change that. And in the meantime, I will dazzle everyone with some more surfer slang.
Oh, no.
How about now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. All right. Yes.
Okay, good.
You're here, finally. So you spare us the surfer slang. How's it going?
Pretty good. Not too bad.
How was Thanksgiving?
We were talking about this before the show. There was we had a little bit of a fire department visit in my apartment building on Thanksgiving, which, for some people is to be expected on Thanksgiving. Maybe you're cooking a turkey for the one time a year and you like something on fire. That was not the case. So, but everyone is safe. So it's okay.
I wonder what the stats are on that fire department visits on Thanksgiving.
I'll just say they sounded very annoyed. So maybe not extremely high because the firefighters did not sound like it was normal.
You took them away from their picturesque fire station Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving, exactly. I poked my head out my nose. I was like, "Is everything okay?" They were like, "Yeah, it's good." They looked mad.
You guys in overalls eating turkey legs, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Well, back on the show.
I wish them the best. Hopefully they got back to it.
Yes, hopefully they did. The stuffing was still warm. Also back on the show tonight is my co-host on the Just Enough Trope podcast. She's also the host of the Sailor Noob podcast, and she's a frequent Enterprising Individuals and Discoverage guest. It's Mika Hana. Mika, welcome back to Discoverage.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I did not have a visit from the fire department, so I'm a little disappointed about that. But yeah, no, good Thanksgiving, pretty uneventful. So yeah.
Well, that's good. What's going on the Just Enough Trope podcast?
Well, let's see. Last week we did a review of the first couple of episodes of the Amazon show Wheel of Time.
Yes.
And which basically we weren't very thrilled with, but I'm going to keep watching because I want it to be better than it is. And maybe I'm kind of hoping that it'll get better. And
Sure.
It's like the story of my life.
Yeah. So, we'll see how that goes. And this week we're going to be talking about Hawkeye. So the new Marvel series on Disney Plus.
Yes, the Renaissance continues.
Yeah, apparently it does.
Hopefully that will be good, but it is great to have you back on the show. This is the part of the show where we usually talk about the news in the world of Trek, and there's really one news story that everybody is concerned with and thinking about right now, and that is the accessibility of Discovery to people in other places of the world who don't just live in America. And the good news is that Viacom CBS has added the new season of Discovery to particular streaming platforms, depending on your location internationally. So it is now available in 23 countries overseas. The first two episodes aired today, and they will get future episodes weekly, and Paramount is offering a discounted introductory subscription to Paramount Plus in those regions. And then in remaining countries like Germany, France, Russia, South Korea, and the UK, Discovery will be broadcast on Pluto TV on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and Season 4 will be available for purchase starting today. That's, of course, Friday, November 26th. This does not apply to previous seasons, though. No replacement for most viewers internationally as far as that goes. And I don't know anything about Pluto TV. I get the impression that these are just airing live, like they're going to show them on the weekend, but they won't stick around for streaming, I think. I don't have Pluto.
I have no idea. That's interesting. So, in other words, if somebody was just getting into Trek and they're like, "What is this Discovery I've heard so much about?"
Yeah.
They could only watch season 4 in those countries. They
That
couldn't
is
watch.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that stinks.
It does. I think, look, there's people are upset about this, and understandably so. And I think that Paramount is trying to do what they can to get it to the viewers, like you said, who have not seen previous episodes, because that would be a good thing to have if you want to watch this new show everybody's talking about. I mean, this has been something of a well, let's say a publicity event, if not publicity stunt, because this has been trending. A lot of people have been talking about this, and it's possible that people will maybe show up and see if they can watch it. But yeah, I hope that every viewer everywhere gets to see past episodes of Discovery as well as current ones.
Yeah, I hope so too.
A little bizarre though, right? That they were like, sorry, we can't have it internationally. It's just whatever. It fell through. And then everyone was like, how dare you? And they were like, we love you and we heard you. Here we go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They could have predicted that fans were going to be upset about that. Like, if they had just thought about it for like 10 seconds, right? I mean, that's the weird thing to me.
Who can you think about something for 10 seconds?
Who can see all ends?
Who can?
Really?
Who can?
Yeah.
I can't.
Who has the time?
Who has the 10 seconds to think?
But hopefully people will be able to catch up and listen to us talk about the second episode of the fourth season of Star Trek Discovery that we watched today. It's an episode called Anomaly. We're here to talk all about it. But first, as always, a warning. We're setting a course for the spoiler zone, so be warned. We're glad you've decided to join us. But if you haven't seen the episode, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for Anomaly is: Saru returns to help the USS Discovery uncover the mystery of an unusually destructive new force. As Burnham leads the crew, she must also find a way to help Book cope with an unimaginable loss. This episode was written by Anne Kofel-Saunders and Glenise Mullins. Kofel-Saunders previously wrote the Star Trek Discovery episodes Scavengers and Su'Kal, and she is a co-executive producer both on last season and the current season. And this is Mullins, as far as I can tell, this is Mullins' first TV script, but she's also a writer on the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings series.
Oh my God.
Mika, snap opinion about the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings series.
I'm unsure as to how they're going to pull it off if Wheel of Time is supposed to whet our appetite for it. Let me just put it that way. I think that they wanted. We talked about this when we talked on Just Enough Trope, but like, the effects on Wheel of Time could have been better. So,
right.
Gosh, I hope they're better on the Lord of the Rings series, and it's Ella, I don't know if you're familiar with Wheel of Time or if you've watched the series at all.
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay.
It sounds like maybe I shouldn't watch it.
Well, all I'll say is you will notice a lot of similarities to the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Really?
Yeah. And like the author even said that he was like heavily homaging it, but it's like almost a little much. But yeah.
I just
a
hope
heavy
everybody...
homage.
Yes.
Yeah, a loving homage. I just hope everybody's clothes aren't as clean on the Lord of the Rings show. Everybody's clothes are so clean on the Wheel of Time, like they just came out of the costume shop. But this is
nobody wants
show.
Rivendell Aragorn. We want dirty Ranger.
We want Strider,
Aragorn.
Not Aragorn.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Aragorn in the streets, Strider in the sheets. This episode was directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi, a veteran series director who also directed the premiere of last week's episode, Kobayashi Maru. The episode's date, we don't have a star date for this episode still, but it does take place in 3190. Fun fact about this episode shares its title with the third season Enterprise episode Anomaly. This is the first time that the franchise has reused a title. That is an okay episode. They're just getting into the Expanse. It's not a great episode, kind of lays some of the groundwork for season 3 of Enterprise. But what did you guys think about Anomaly 2021?
Who goes first?
Anyway.
Well, I was happy that Saru is back because
Yeah.
he is one of my favorite characters on Discovery. And so I was so mad last season when he was going to not be on the ship anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his reasons, good reasons, but I was very happy to see him back in action. And I was also happy that we got visual confirmation that Grudge is okay. Although, like,
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen what the heck her kennel looks like.
The zero G cat carrier that they put her in when things get tough. Yeah.
Right. And I'm just assuming like some sort of like weird like air pocket cushions like all around, because like she's not going to be like belted in, because I can't imagine a cat would like that.
extra inertial dampening fields on that cat carrier.
Something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess, this is what we're going to be doing the rest of the season. And I'm just like, I don't know. I think I'm processing still. Maybe like Book. Like, why did they have to blow his planet up?
Yeah,
like,
intense.
It's very intense.
I thought that it was interesting that they are the continued Spocking of Mr. Saru is ongoing, and bringing him in, establishing him as the XO, and then also giving him his own like Kelpian Idic. He's got his own little like medallion that's like, oh, this stands for racial unity and purity. I thought that was kind of interesting. Ella,
yeah,
what'd you think?
I liked that too.
I didn't think it was as good as the premiere.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little confused. Has she just not had a first officer up to this point?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so.
Because when he said that, I was like, Bestie, whose job are we, like, who's getting bumped?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
You just see like a character we don't know, like dejectedly, like walking off the bridge, like
yeah,
Brown.
just like, I thought I was gonna make it.
Sorry.
Yeah. I also was happy to see Grudge. I feel like the image of Grudge and like some kind of fancy future cat carrier on the spaceship is what I think I'm doing when I put my cat in the dog carrier in my back seat that I bought for him.
Yeah.
It buckles in like 3 ways, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. Let's go see Grandma.
Nice.
I don't know.
It's good to have him back for certain. Although, once Discovery moves to a 5th season, I totally want to see the USS Sojourner spinoff with Captain Saru at the helm.
I mean, he deserves a captaincy. Like, he's more than
so
capable. Yeah.
We get Bill Irwin to tag along. He's just hanging out. Yeah.
I also am kind of like, I don't want to be mean to, our man Book. He's been through a lot, but again, what is his Starfleet title? Like the captain's escort? Because I'm like, he's not in Starfleet, and then she's like, you can't go on this mission, and he's like, I'm not in Starfleet. You can't tell me what to do.
Right.
And I was like, you can't.
I shouldn't be here, therefore I can be here.
Exactly. It's like,
yeah. Yeah, Captain's boyfriend.
Yeah.
We need a better title than that, but yeah.
Yeah.
He's a specialist. Starfleet has worked with independent contractors before. He's got a very vital ship. That's a resource that he can apply.
Apparently.
Yeah. He should be billing them. Just everything is like the meter's running on his ship.
The invoice.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect it, but it's just like, what are we doing? Like, where's the line?
I was glad, or maybe sad. I was sad and glad. I was slad to see them steer more into, Mika was talking about the huge development of his planet getting Alderaan. And I was glad that they are taking that seriously. That'll obviously be a motivator for him, throughout the season. But having this episode in the midst of this, slap bang action, we got to get the data sort of thing, this kind of chase, having that also apply to his emotional state and seeing him go through that. I mean, Discovery has never turned away from that. And I like the fact that we see him be almost catatonic with this grief and driving him to near self-destruction. But like, the people on Discovery, it's what they do. They sort of pull him back in. And he turns out hopefully better. But it would be very jarring if we just, I'm mad, but we got to get this done. If he just jumped right back in the saddle.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. And I was like, why does Stamets need to be there as a hologram? But then I was like, okay, he doesn't need to be there to get the data. Like the data is on the ship. And like he says at one point, oh, you don't know what you're looking for, but does that necessarily matter? Or do we need enough of it? That wasn't really clear. But basically, he seemed like he was mostly there to be, he's looking for data maybe, but he's there for emotional support for Book and to make sure that he's okay, without
somebody need to keep an eye on Book.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Without physically being there, which I thought was an interesting choice. Like, we're not going to put anybody and this is maybe Michael being extra cautious as a captain after the events of last episode. She doesn't want to lose anybody. And of course she doesn't want to lose Book, but he made the point. He's not Starfleet.
Yeah.
So
it kind of raises the question why he needs to be there. Like, can they just hologram pilot every ship? But
why is Grudge on the ship?
Well, that's the
what
real.
I thought. I was like, leave her on
question.
leave her with Adira or somebody.
Good
oh my god!
Point.
Yeah.
Like, we know you love your cat. That is not in question here. But maybe her life does not need to be in danger because you need to do this.
Where I go, she goes. Yeah. But I did like them as scene partners. We take the characters of the show and we go, well, who hasn't done a thing with somebody else? And I thought that they were an interesting pair for this episode. And I also really liked the telepresence kind of thing. Like, one of the benefits of them going to the 32nd century is that the book is kind of unwritten technologically, so they can kind of come up with these.
Nice.
They can kind of come up with these. With these like new twists of technology, when I've been watching Foundation recently, and I like it, but it's like it has a Trekkie feel, but at the same time there is no real book, again, nice, so to speak, about how the technology works. Like, oh, we've got cloning. Oh, we've got nanobots. Oh, we've got this. We've got that. And it's fine. Like, they are a civilization that has been extant for 30,000 years. So I'd expect them to have a lot of technology. But I like the fact that we've kind of got this new era where they can go, we can grow you a body. Sure. It's something that they did, back in the 25th century with this guy named Picard, but it's not something that people do a lot, but it's not a problem. We can just whip that up for you and get you going. That's kind of cool.
That is cool. What did you think about like the reference to Picard? And I felt like there was something, maybe I missed something, but it felt like they made it sound like we don't know how successful this is, or they haven't done it that much.
Your head might spin around. That's a side effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, are they saying that when they did this for Picard, it didn't go too well? I wasn't quite sure what to make of that.
Well, I felt like they were downplaying, because once again, it raises the same question that was raised using this plot point in Picard, which is, so people can be immortal now? Like, does that change how people live their lives in the Federation? Like, what does that do? And again, I think it's cool that with a 1,000-year gap, you don't have to fill in the middle. You just go, I don't exactly know why people decided it wasn't a thing that they wanted to do. Either they're evolved enough to realize it sucks to live forever, or maybe people's heads started spinning around and like, we got to stop doing this. But I like the fact that they took that and went, this is something that we can use now to like give this character literal new life. My question about the whole situation is, what is this like? Have we got into like what this means for the Trill? Like, has this happened before? Like, where a dominant personality like still hangs around in a new host?
Right.
Are they cool with, like, wouldn't they suggest, well, we should probably just rehouse the symbiont, like take it out of Adira and just find like a new host? Or is there some reason that they can't do that? I wonder if this is
Didn't they already want to last season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some line about how it's stuck. We can't get it out. They put it in sideways.
Yeah, they said kill Adira, right, to take it out.
Yeah, I don't know, because Adira's human, so would
Yeah.
it kill them? I don't really know.
Well, I was like wondering too, because like I thought that like, well, obviously, okay, uh, Gray's a Trill and in the symbiote and everything, but I thought like Gray died, but like how I'm just so confused about like the more I learn about the Trill, the more confused I am. Like I don't know how it works. You know, like it seems like Gray is still very much alive. So like what you were saying,
Right.
is it just a dominant personality within the symbiote? Is you know, that they're able, and like how is it going to work that they're going to be able to take Gray's personality or soul or what have you being out of the symbiote? Like how are they going to be able to do that?
Right. And is it
What is
possible?
like?
Would it be
I don't-
possible
I mean-
to? I'll finish my thought real quick. Would it be possible
Yeah.
to do that for other, like, join Trill? You know, like take Esri Dax and build a body for Jadzia or Emily or something like that.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
was gonna say,
Ella.
I feel like obviously it's this whole new thing having the symbiont inside a human, but also I feel like Gray is like, and this is again, I think it's like a mystery that hasn't yet been solved, even like in the show. But I feel like Gray is, it's something different. Like it's Gray's consciousness. It's not like the symbiont is like essentially their like memories, not like a life force. So whatever Gray
Right.
is, because Adira is seeing him, is like a totally different thing. Which
Yeah.
I would, that's what I was thinking is why they're gonna be able to put Gray in the new body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not, whatever happened isn't the same as like being Gray's memories in the symbiont. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And a lot of that'll be written as the story goes on. But ultimately,
Yeah.
What I really like about it is the metaphor for transitioning that it is.
Yes.
You know, I think that's
Yeah,
just
that was wild.
in the way that, and Star Trek is, you know, really good at this. It's just done this a lot, but in the way that they're using that as kind of a metaphor for transitioning, I thought was just really, that's smart. I think that should go down with the Trill themselves as being, you know, a gender fluid or being trans people.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, and how he was like, well, can I like get rid of that mole? I don't really, that's not really me.
Yeah.
So why not?
But it's like, but you're you. It doesn't. This mole isn't you. Like
Yeah.
who you are is who you are. Yeah. So
Right,
yeah, go for it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, really neat. Let's talk science stuff. Let's. One thing that I've noticed that Discovery does, and yeah, I like it. I think their heart's in the right place, but I don't know if it always works. They tend, you know, so we've got this gravitational anomaly, and clearly the writers like Googled or Wikipedia like a lot of gravitational stuff. So like suddenly everybody's shouting out like, "Oh, it's a binary black hole. It's moving at superluminal speed, and it's doing all this stuff," and but then it always turns out to be some totally like wackadoo sci-fi thing, like it should. I mean, it's Star Trek, and I think sometimes they get trapped in like having to make it. No, look, we're doing real science here. Like this could be a real thing. Said the alien on a ship that travels on a network of mushrooms across the universe.
They just call Aaron McDonald every 5 minutes. Like, is the what? Can
Yeah.
we have a binary black hole? What's
We need, we need 3 gravitational sounding things, and then that'll be our anomaly thing. But this is a big deal, and I think that maybe we're moving into tinfoil hat theories, but I think we got the impression that like either somebody is controlling this thing, or perhaps this thing is somehow itself sentient because it's kind of going where it wants to go.
It's really weird, and I was wondering because you know at the end of the episode we find out that after they got all the data and everything that it changed directions, so the data is essentially like useless. But I was wondering, like, did it change directions because Discovery was there? Like,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, like was them being there, did that somehow alter the direction it was going? like, I don't know. Is it the idea of it being sentient is really interesting. I think that's more interesting than the idea of somebody like controlling it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be like I mean, it's got to be like a thing, right? It can't be like it's not like astrophysics anymore. It's got to be like a thing, whether it's sentient or not. I don't know, because I was like, if it's just like a thing, if it's like some weird space being, then like it wouldn't have to be sentient to be like, oh, those mushrooms smell good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what happened to the spore drive. This thing ate all the mushrooms. Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, maybe we've got unresolved issues with the Emerald Chain, or maybe there's some other force out there that we don't know about. And it'd be a pretty powerful weapon if you wanted to, say, wipe out the space druids because they're a threat to you. So you just, steer your anomaly across their planet and take care of that, and then maybe send it somewhere else after that. I also thought, like,
that's true.
If there is some kind of consciousness, it makes me think about V'ger a lot, which was also huge, not light years across, but very big.
Yeah, it's definitely like I don't know. I feel like anomaly is one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot in Star Trek. I feel like especially in Voyager. You know, what's happening this week? Oh, we ran into a different kind of anomaly. Of course we did.
It literally means, I don't know. Good science.
Exactly. It's science.
They're like, something's there.
But we don't know what it is.
If a bald lady without pants on shows up on their ship, I guess we know that it's related to V'ger. We saw a pretty cool scene at the beginning of the episode where we saw sort of representatives from the Federation and Federation Worlds meeting. Also, the representative from Navarre was there. The Ferrignar, the Ferengi, the person that we've seen before, appeared in the episode. And it's good to see that everything is sort of like working together. I think so I don't know, like I thought a lot about it, but I don't know the sort of organization, the org chart of the Federation. Like, the Federation president seems to have a lot of power. I mean, if they map to the American president, they are technically the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, but she's just kind of throwing out orders and everything, and Salt and Pepper is getting them done.
Yeah, he still seems like he's really high up there.
Yeah, if you told me last season that I would trust him more than the president of the Federation, I'd be like,
he's got time to betray you still. Never give up.
He does, but I'm trying to give him, I'm like, I spent, almost a full calendar year being like, it's him, he did it. And I'm trying to be like, okay.
I think last week Ella and I were talking about the idea of setting Burnham and crew up in opposition to this kind of charismatic president leader, and the things that sort of entails or implies. What do you think about that, Mika? What do you think about our dumb theory?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a dumb theory. I think it's kind of already happening, and I just think it's interesting too that they kind of, like, you were talking last week about how she's like, it seems like she's part, she's got some Cardassian heritage, she's got some Bajoran heritage, which is already.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I could see her nose ridges this episode.
See, I looked it up after the episode aired, and I couldn't confirm it anywhere, so I might have been.
Yeah, there's nothing saying anything, but this episode I was looking at her, and I was like, it does look. I mean, it looks like she's half Cardassian, then it looks like she has the nose ridges. But sorry, keep going.
Oh my God, you can't just ask somebody if they're Bajoran or not.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Sorry, go ahead.
But it's that's already interesting because of everything that we know that happened between Cardassia and Bajor, but then it's almost like we need somebody else to be mad at and not trust, and like not trust more than Salt and Pepper. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Star Trek's problem with authority.
Trust authority. Exactly.
Yeah.
As we should.
Yeah. I mean, we all know already that, like, Federation admirals most of the time should not be trusted, so
I'm every time I see 4 pips on screen, I'm winding a punch up.
I know. So I think it's entirely possible, but it's like, So she seems like she's newly instated as the president. Like, who
Yeah.
did they just not have one before? Is that what we're supposed to get?
I was
good
assuming
question.
that, yeah, since it's been so, the Federation was like almost, pretty much out of commission as a whole, that there wasn't really a president, I guess.
Okay, that makes sense.
The one guy in the station in the middle of nowhere, how is he going to vote? There's no absentee
he was just
ballots.
like- yeah.
So they just don't have a president, maybe. Yeah. I mean, clearly they're. I don't know. I don't know if they've said, but it seems to imply that that's what they're going for. Especially with her, like, "Hi, I'm also here to like present, the new initiative of the Archer space stock and sort of get things rolling." And so, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's Star Trek, so she'll definitely turn out to be bad, or at least an antagonist for a little while.
Yeah.
Let's
Maybe
talk about.
she'll just be like one of those things where like she's a politician, so her goals are like, you're like fair but evil because like Burnham has a good heart and you're just a almost crooked politician. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm trying to think. We have not seen many Federation presidents. We saw President You're a Dumbass in Star Trek VI.
That's what I was thinking of.
And he was the kind of like hands tied. I don't want to do this. I don't want to sell Kirk out, but I have to do it for, political reasons. And then we saw the kind of like, it's implied very weak President Jarish Inyo in the DS9 two-parter where they try to do a coup. And he's just kind of like, I don't know. The military said do this, so I'm going to do this. So I don't know. Maybe I don't want a ton more politics necessarily in Trek, but I think the Federation president probably could and should be a character that we would recognize and that shows up once in a while, especially when the Federation has been driven to the brink, as we've seen in this recent season of Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it. Like, I think it's gonna be I think she's gonna be a super compelling character. Whether I trust her, that's a different question entirely, but I'm very excited for her to be involved in the hijinks this season.
Yeah. Start looking up the Federation articles of impeachment. How do we do this? We may have to.
Don't make me go through this again.
Let's talk about the Senate will never vote on it. Let's talk about the ship. We've seen a couple new things on the ship. I like that every room can be like a holodeck now. I think that's a good progression of like holodeck or holographic technology. And so Burnham's, looking at this vista in her ready room, and then it's just like, I'll just turn it off.
That was sick.
I think it's cool, but I want to know how it works with like a room that has like physical furniture in it. Like,
I'll tell you what, you're bumping
question.
those toes.
That's a great question.
Those toes.
Right?
Yeah, it's like VR. You have to hold real still.
I mean, is there like do you see like a fuzzy outline of where things are, or
you strap yourself down in one of those like circular, slippery treadmills? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You do that first, and then she's like, "I'm walking to the Vista."
I think they have that in
That
some
could
VR.
work.
Some VR systems have like a camera or a thing that will tell you where things are, so you don't kick your dog or fall down. Yeah.
Don't kick your dog.
Oh.
We also get a name
It's
drop.
like when the Wii first came out and people were just hitting their
We're
TVs
just-
like bowling.
yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
take precautions
Those
first.
things go sailing. Yeah. We get a name drop of Zora in this episode. I still feel like, you think that they're like just pocketing that for like, at some point we're going to drop the bomb on what the Zora thing is. This one little short trek that came out a while ago.
I hope so.
Set a whole future plot line up that we're just saving. It's on the shelf.
Maybe.
They seem pretty
mean,
cool with their
otherwise,
ship
why
being
do it?
self-aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, she picked it. I was like, okay, so I thought
Oh, great.
that was a computer. I'm
Any
not
other
really
big
sure.
decisions she'd made? Yeah.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that more or not? Is she going to want a body next? Because,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Talk about not trusting authority, not quite trusting, AI yet. Talk about Dr. Soong. I don't know, besties. Some things have gone wrong before.
Yes.
She's clearly a Motley Crue fan because those fire jets keep shooting every time something happens to the ship. It's like, woo!
The party.
Anything else you guys can think of to mention? I've got something if you guys don't.
Go for it.
Go. Yeah.
Well, I like that Culber is essentially the de facto counselor now. I mean, he's served that role in the past, but characters who have problems are going like, "Oh, I got to go talk to Culber." And if he doesn't have that position officially, he needs to just be in that position, I think.
Needs the pay raise.
He needs the raise.
I mean,
he needs the specific skills. I assume that, as a Starfleet medical personnel, he's had some basic courses, but like he needs to get the certification and just open up shop.
I mean, I think it's kind of, when you think about it, and a lot of times you're just having so much fun with Trek, you don't really think about it. But I think it's kind of,
Woo, I'm having fun.
Yeah, it's kind of infuriating that, like, I feel like all Trek ships, no matter how big they are, should have a counselor on board, because they go through some pretty traumatic and or life-altering things all the time.
Every single day.
I know. They need somebody on board who, is certified to talk to people about, I mean, especially like when you're trained in the military, a lot of times people don't want to talk about things that are like difficult or what have you. And you need somebody, if you don't have somebody on board that you can open up to, you need somebody who is certified to do that for you.
Yeah. But
I'm glad that they do have Culver, but he needs to be the counselor now also. So
hopefully they'll do something like that, because there's such a focus on mental health in this series and just recently in the franchise that I think it would be important to highlight a character for having those traits and those skills.
Yeah, and I did like that in this episode, they showed Tilly kind of just reaching out and basically saying, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you,"
right.
in that capacity. So
I'm not going to
sit. That was good.
I'm not going to sit on this trauma. I was involved in this traumatic experience and just sit on it until I explode. Like some other shows, I'm going to try to get out ahead of this and deal with this. Yeah, it was healthy.
Yeah.
Something else that's healthy is the globe of silence that you can activate around the captain's chair. This is the best new technology I've seen on Star Trek. Think about how many problems could have been resolved if you could just put the globe of silence on when you're talking to a loved one.
Imagine, though, because you can still see the captain's face.
Right. I guess you get some
indication
of what's
Captain, your wife is calling.
Yeah, right. No more uncomfortable public cell phone conversations with the globe of silence.
I do like it. I was thinking, though, like Book didn't have like the globe of silence, so that means that hologram Stamets could hear the other side of that conversation.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Stamets is like, do.
Yeah, exactly. Just collect data.
This thing. Just get my data.
He's like, I'm just here. Book's having a breakdown.
Yeah.
I like that holo technology that Stamets is using. It's a cool idea. It looked great on screen, and I bet it's going to come back in some way. It's going to be important, in the finale or in a later episode.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was neat too that like while you are the hologram, you have to be like basically strapped into a chair like your body. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't. I guess it must read his thoughts or like what his brain wants to do, because he's not like getting up and walking around engineering. So yeah,
right.
They did it. They perfected VR in the future. No dog.
I was going to say, kind of better than those slippery treadmills.
Yeah. The slippery. Forget the slippery treadmill. That's gone. Well, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say about this episode. I really like this episode. I think the show's heading in a good direction, and I think they're really splitting their time well between the bombastic action and also what's going on in the lives of these characters that we've really come to know and become very familiar with over the course of the series. I think that everything is clicking. And everyone agrees with me.
Of course. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens next, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we will be talking about what comes next, but that will be a different week. That's it for this week's show, and thank you for joining us, listeners. And if you like what you hear, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at EISTPod for updates and to get notified when new episodes of both Discoverage, this show, and Enterprising Individuals are released. You can tweet to us on the show by using the hashtag Discoverage, or you can email us with comments and questions at eistpod@gmail.com. And while you are on the internet, why not head to your listening platform of choice and subscribe to our show feed. Give us a rating and a review because that really helps us out. If you want to help the show grow, you can stop by our Patreon page at patreon.com/EISTpod. And as always, if you like the show, tell a friend. Discoverage will return on December 3rd for the third episode of Star Trek Discovery's fourth season. That episode is titled Choose to Live. And fun fact, choose to live is the favorite catchphrase of one Kowat Milat Elnor on Star Trek Picard. So maybe the Picard connections will continue. We don't know. Yeah. We'll be here next. We'll be here next Thursday to cover that, and we'll be going live once again at 8 p.m. Central. So join us then. You could follow us on Twitter or Facebook at EISTPod to get notified when we go live and we're broadcasting. In the meantime, check out our main show, Enterprising Individuals, at enterprisingindividuals.com. Every Wednesday on the show, I and a special guest discuss in excruciating detail a selected episode from a Star Trek series, and we have news from the Trek sphere and interviews with special guests. The show's currently on holiday hiatus, but you can access all 6 seasons of our show at enterprisingindividuals.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Ella, thanks as always for joining me to talk about this night's episode of Star Trek Discovery and remind people where they can find you online.
Thank you. My home podcast is called Generations Geek, and you can find us on all social media and wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yes, and check out their website at generationsgeek.com. And Mika, it's always great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me at Mika and Hana on Twitter and justenoughtrope.com.
What's coming up on Just Enough Trope?
Well, we are going to be talking about Hawkeye.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And the
very quick, Hawkeye pro or against?
I guess you have to
the
tune
character
in to find
in general?
out. Or the character in general. I like him with the horns.
I like the Hawkeye comic.
Just as a joke,
the
you
Matt
think
Fraction comic?
Yeah. Just
me
as a joke, you think they'd get him in the comic suit for once.
You would think with like the little pointy mask. Like
put him in the purple. Yeah. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. That is it for us. Thanks for listening, and we are signing off for this week. This is Aaron for Mika and Ella saying, live long and prosper.